Welcome to another ONDO update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our Discord server where we post multiple updates a day. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. Now, I know I have not made a video about ONDO in quite some time, but ONDO still needed to get an ABC structure to the downside, and it looks like we did get that. I did tell you up here that it's possible we go down right now, and while we went down and we have an ABC structure on the chart, the low could be in already. We already got to the 0.382 extension of the first wave, but keep in mind we could test the 50% extension before we continue, which would not be the end of the world, but keep in mind we don't really want to see the price go below this level because that would also put us below the bull market support band. And yeah, right now that would obviously not be extremely bullish. But keep in mind, I'm still expecting ONDO to continue going up extremely soon because I'm expecting Bitcoin dominance to start dropping. Now, before I talk about that, let me talk about the Elliott wave count because this is important, and so far it has played out exactly like I told you it will. So anyways, let's continue with the Elliott wave count. So on the chart, we have a big 1-2 setup. As you can see, the second wave moved down, reacted to the 50% extension of the first wave. It reacted to that extension 3 times and then we bounced. And yeah, right now we are near all-time highs. Now, of course, this coin is not that old. I mean, this coin is only 1 year old, so you cannot really have a perfect Elliott wave count for it, but this is a 1-2 setup at the end of the day. So this means that at some point we have to get a third wave. The minimum target for the third wave of this 1-2 setup is the 200% extension of the 1-2 setup, and that is at $11.17. Are we going to get there? I don't know. I mean, this is only a projection. I mean, this is where the third wave needs to go. But do I think it's going to get there? Well, I don't know. In my opinion, it could get there. It could even get to like $20 to $30 in this cycle because the market cap of ONDO is not as high as the other altcoins. And also, like I told you multiple times, Bitcoin dominance will most likely start dropping soon. And whenever that happens, ONDO and the other altcoins will start going up like crazy. We'll get the altcoin season extremely soon, like I have already told you multiple times. And I think it will happen in the next couple of months. Well, it will already start this month in my opinion. I'm going to talk about that soon. First, let's continue with the Elliott wave count. So to complete this third wave move to the upside, we need 5 waves up. Right now we have a 1-2 setup on the chart. The first wave is an ABC structure, the second wave move is also an ABC structure, and the low could be in, like I said, but I cannot confirm that until we get 5 waves up. And what would that look like? Well, the first wave needs to look something like this, then we need to get a second wave move down, then a third wave, a fourth wave, and a fifth wave, and once we get that, that will confirm that the second wave right here is in and that we're actually heading in a third wave of the 1-2 setup that we have on the chart. This will also be the third wave of the main third wave, so this will be the most bullish time of the cycle. I could also give you a target for the third wave of the third wave, however, I think the target for that is a bit too high because it's at $9 and that's the 200% extension of this 1-2 setup that we have on the chart. So let me actually put that on the chart. I mean, I don't know if we will get there or not. It's really hard to say, but it is a third wave of the third wave. So of course this has to be way more bullish than the first wave. So we could get at about $9. But we're probably going to find some resistance at about $5.24, well 25 cents, which is the 1618 extension of the 1-2 setup that we have here. And let me change the color of this just so it's easier to understand. Let me make this yellow, I guess, and let me get rid of some extensions. So the third wave right here could get somewhere between $5.25 and maybe even $9.11, maybe even $13 in a more bullish scenario. And then at some point we will need a fourth wave move down and a fifth wave move up. And I mean the third wave right here could obviously overextend to the 2.272 extension of the big 1-2 setup that we have on the chart. But like I said, the minimum target for the third wave is the 200% extension of the 1-2 setup, and that is at $11. Now, of course, I don't know if we will get a 4 and a 5. Maybe we will, maybe we'll not. I mean, some altcoins in the previous cycle did not get a 4 and a 5. For example, VeChain, after it topped right here in April, it never got another all-time high in November or September like some other altcoins did. For example, Cardano, it had a cycle high in May, and what do you know, it had another cycle high in August, or well, the end of February. I don't know if ONDO will do the same. I don't know which path ONDO will follow. All I know is that in this cycle it will most likely reach at least $11, and in a more bullish scenario it could even reach like $30. Now I want to look at the 4-hour RSI as well, because something important just happened here. We got oversold on the 4-hour, and the last time we got to the oversold territory on the 4-hour chart, if you ignore this drop right here, which was just an A wave of the second wave move down, the last time we got oversold was down here when ONDO was at about 58 cents. And look at what happened after that. We went from 58 cents all the way up to like $2. We got to the 2618 extension of the AB structure on the chart to complete the C wave. So yeah, this is obviously extremely bullish. And before that, the last time we got to the oversold territory, again, if you ignore these drops right here, which are just A waves of the B wave, the last time was literally down here or even down here, and as you can see, we got a short-term bounce after that, so I think it will happen very soon as well. Now, if you look at the daily chart, it looks even better. We went from being extremely overbought up here to now almost being oversold, and this is obviously extremely good. The last time we were at these RSI levels on the daily was when ONDO was literally at 58 cents, so this is extremely bullish, and even if we get another low to the 50% extension, I mean that would actually be extremely bullish, because that would put us at the oversold territory on the daily chart, and the last time we were oversold on the daily was when ONDO was at this low right here at 50 cents. So even if we get right here to about $1.03, I mean that would only be more bullish, so we'll see if we get that or not. I also want to look at the weekly chart. The weekly chart is also looking good. It has cooled off. It's no longer overbought. We went from having an RSI of about 78 to now having an RSI of about 54, which is very good. And yeah, now I want to talk about Bitcoin dominance for a second. I'm expecting Bitcoin dominance to start dropping very soon. And by very soon, I mean in the next couple of days, maybe in the next 2 weeks or so. Now, I have already talked about this a lot in my previous videos, but if you did not watch my previous videos, for example, my previous Cardano videos or my previous Chainlink videos, then let me explain what's happening right now. We just had a cross on the bull market support band about 48 days ago, and the red line of the bull market support band went above the green line. Now, why is that important? Well, because in the previous 2 cycles, after we had a cross on the bull market support band, for example in 2020, after we had this cross right here, Bitcoin dominance did absolutely nothing. However, 48 days after the cross, Bitcoin dominance started dropping, and that was the beginning of the altcoin season. This was the second altcoin season ever, and this is when most people actually bought crypto. Nobody was buying crypto up here, nobody was talking about it, and what do you know, when Bitcoin dominance was at 60% up here, nobody cared about it. And moving on to the 2016 cycle, it's the exact same thing again. Here we had a cross on the bull market support band, and during that time, Bitcoin dominance actually did what it does right now. It got a pump to the bull market support band, it tested the bull market support band multiple times, it did not manage to stay above it, it kept getting rejected, and then all of a sudden it started dropping, and this was the beginning of the first altcoin season, and what do you know, this started happening 47 days after we had the cross on the bull market support band. So 47 days here, 47 days in the 2020 cycle, and right now it has been 48 days since the cross on the bull market support band, which means that if we want to copy what we did in the previous 2 cycles, we have to start going down right now. Now, there is a chance that we just continue going sideways until January 20th instead. And why am I saying that? Well, because that's when the next president of the United States will be put into office. So maybe the market will remain uncertain until then, but once that happens, I'm expecting Bitcoin dominance to start dropping. I mean, for example, when the president was elected, Bitcoin dominance dropped about 6%, and during this time, when Bitcoin dominance dropped 6%, ONDO actually went up quite a lot. It went up like 4x. So imagine what will happen once Bitcoin dominance drops, let's say from 58% where it's at right now, to about 40% by the end of this year or maybe the end of next year. But keep in mind, I'm expecting everything to top by the end of this year. The next year will most likely be a bear market. And yeah, keep that in mind. Now I also want to talk about Ethereum for a second. Ethereum is currently going down. However, if you look at the Ethereum monthly returns chart, which is this right here, In the previous couple of years, for example in 2020, which was a post-halving year, Ethereum went up about 78%, and in 2017 it went up 32%, but before going up 78% in the previous cycle, for example, it actually had a correction, and what do you know, that correction happened exactly 4 years ago. Now let me look for it. So this is the correction that we got, and as you can see, this was a big drop. We dropped from $1,300 all the way down to like $900, and this took a couple of days. And what do you know, it happened exactly 4 years ago. This correction started on January 10th, and it ended on January 11th, or maybe January 13th, if you count this right here. And what do I want to tell you with this? Well, if we want to follow what we did in the previous 2 cycles, Ethereum should start going up, and it should be somewhere between $4,500 and $5,000 by the end of this month, if we want to copy what we did in the previous 2 cycles. And keep in mind, Ethereum always goes up in the first, let's say, 2 quarters of the year, no matter what year it is. Of course, if it's a bear market, it's not going to go up as much, but even in the bear markets, Ethereum still went up. So yeah, I'm expecting Ethereum to be at all-time highs very soon, and whenever that happens, ONDO will also be able to get to new all-time highs again. So this is still looking bullish, everything is still looking good, and we'll see what happens in the next couple of months or maybe weeks. And yeah, consider checking out the memberships and the Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to all of our crypto updates on the Discord server. And like, subscribe, I will see you in the next one.